What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is just on a tear this season. Game-winning bucket tonight. Been a bucket all season long. I want to talk about him in particular because I think he's been amazing. Before I do, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And if you enjoy this kind of content, please like the video. But let's give Shai Gilgeous some love because he's got this Thunder team that was expected to bottom out after the Chet injury in the play-in. Like, he's just got them playing good basketball. They're one of the most fun teams in the NBA. He's the biggest reason why, in my humble opinion. Statistically, one of the best players in the entire league, 30.6 points per game, almost 5 rebounds and like 5.5 assists per game. Top 5 scorer in the entire league. Just dominant every single game. And I think he's had 3 games where he didn't score more than 20 points. And I think he's like 28 out of 42 games where he had more than 30. Like 67% of the games he's played this season, he had more than 30 points. That's just some special stuff. Like, you don't see that from a lot of players in the league, and doesn't get a ton of notoriety, but he's been fantastic. He had 40 points against the Pelicans like a couple weeks ago. He had 40 points against the Mavericks earlier this season. Those are 2 playoff teams. And then he had 40 against the Wizards. So, he's put up big numbers on good teams. It's not like he's just stat padding, kind of doing that kind of thing. It's been leading to wins, which is the nice thing. I think they're like 23 and 24 at this point in the season. He was awesome tonight, as usual. Got the game-winning bucket, of course, on Aaron Gordon, who is an awesome defender against a really, really good Nuggets team. No Jokic, but you can only play who's in front of you, and he was the best player on the floor. So you can't help but fall in love with his game because he is aggressive all the time. He hustles, he can pass, he can shoot, gets to the line, and he's just got a mixed bag of everything. It's so unique. There's not too many players like him in the entire league. So speaking of guys that are like him in the entire league, let's talk about the guys that are putting up or making a bigger impact on the game than him. Okay. There's a total of 5 guys in the entire NBA with a higher player impact estimate. Okay. Nikola Jokic, MVP guy. Joel Embiid, MVP guy. Luka Doncic, MVP guy. Giannis Antetokounmpo, MVP guy. Kevin Durant, MVP guy. Do you guys get the point here? He's next. He's after those guys. Those 5 and then Shai. So realistically, I don't know how you don't put him in that same conversation. Sure, they're not a top 3 team, but they're 1 game away from being a top 6 team in the entire Western Conference right now. So it's not like they're that far out of it. So he should be getting a little bit of, recognition towards maybe the MVP conversation. That's just the conversation, though. He should be somewhere in that top 6 or 7 because he's just been dominant. And it's crazy, the efficiency. He's 90% from the free throw line, like 50% from the field, 35 from 3, and he takes like the 10th most contested threes per game. So it's not like they're wide open, looks that he's just hitting 35% of. He's hitting 35% off step backs and side steps and cross, like just off the bounce. It's not easy the way he gets his buckets. And the free throws, the 10 free throws per game, shooting them at 90%. In the clutch, his percentage goes up to like 92%. So he gets better in the clutch. I think he scored the 7th most clutch points per game, which, in a team that is going to be playing a lot of close games because they're young and stuff like that, you need a guy that's going to go out there and get those buckets when it really, really matters. So, dude, what do you do to stop him? Because he's fast enough to go by you. He's so lengthy that he can create the fouls. He can shoot off the dribble. He's just got a mixed handle. There's nothing that seems like it's going to work when guarding him. The Nuggets put Aaron Gordon on him. The size, I understood the idea, and I think Aaron Gordon's awesome. I think the Nuggets are awesome. It didn't work. What do? I mentioned earlier his effort, and his effort honestly kind of ties into his defense because he's top 10 in deflections per game, and that does not mean he's a lockdown defender by any means, but it means he's in passing lanes and he's applying himself on that end of the ball. And then loose balls. He's top 8 in loose balls recovered. So when the ball is loose, he is one of the best guys in the league at putting the effort into going to get that loose ball off the ground. Those are extra possessions for your team, which, an extra possession here, an extra possession there is going to be, that's going to be a win or a loss. That's just how it comes down to. Tonight's game, they won by 2. Maybe one of those possessions that he gets, maybe they lose if he doesn't get it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a big impact when you kind of look at it from with a bigger point of view rather than just, it's just a loose ball that he recovered. Oh, side note on the deflections, he has the 6th most in the entire league. So yeah, he's definitely in the passing lanes. He's just applying himself straight up. That's what it is. He's probably one of the easiest votes for the All-Star team in the West this year. I what guys in the West would you take ahead of him in terms of the All-Star race? Obviously, you're gonna have Jokic. Okay, we get that. You're gonna have Steph probably. You're gonna have LeBron just because it's LeBron. You know he's gonna get the votes. So that's three guys right there. Like he could legitimately be an All-Star starter, top five in scoring. Has a team that's been competitive, that is overachieving. He's the best player on that team. Like obviously, there's maybe a couple more guys you might be able to argue, but the fact that he's even in the conversation, that is all that matters. Because going into the season, people thought he was good, but they didn't know how good he was. And this year he's showing to be great. Got his team one game out of the play-in tournament. They're the 11 seed, but they're one game away from being the 6 seed, like I said earlier. So it's literally one win could just catapult them back up higher in the standings. We'll see as the season goes on when it gets spaced out. Thunder kind of are playing with house money because they got all these picks. They have Chet coming back next year. They have all this flexibility, cap space, and then they have a superstar player. So it's kind of like they could. I hope they don't just try and trade or sell and not try and make the playoffs. I hope that they gun for it and try and make at least a plan. Because at a certain point, you got to get that experience. You got to get your team in those high pressure situations because you don't really know what you have until you see the guys in high pressure. So I think the Thunder need to go full throttle to try to make it the playoffs. As long as they stay healthy, of course. Giddey's been great. There's other guys you can give credit to. Shai is the head of the snake, though. And for them to be even competitive right now, not a lot of people had him being that way. They might be the most fun team in the entire league, and he's the most fun player on the team. So maybe you make an argument he's the most fun player in the NBA. I don't know, but he's definitely up there because he's putting on a show every single night. And, he should definitely be all NBA second team at worst, I think. I mean, he's been that damn good. So let me know, where do you guys have him on your all-star voting list? Like, who do you have ahead of him? All NBA teams, who do you have ahead of him at the guard position? Because there's really not that many guys I think you can put ahead of him. Steph is the clear-cut guy because that's Steph, and we get that. But after that, there's an open conversation to be had. So I am very, very interested in this. Do you guys think that Shai is going to – do you think he stays at 30 points per game over the season? I think he can keep it there. He's been, 30-plus in 67% of the games. So I think logically he'll probably be there. But anyway, let me know what you're thinking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's season, the Oklahoma City Thunder as a whole, because I think this is one of the most fun situations to watch and pay attention to because they're just having fun out there, and Shai's awesome. That's what it is. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you enjoy this kind of content, please like the video. Vote Shai to your all-star teams. If you don't put him on your all-star team, you have a loose screw somewhere in your head. So yeah, vote him to the all-star team. Let's get him in there. Let's make sure that happens. But yeah, I'm done here. Thanks for watching. Peace.